Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For my birthday, I got this book called The Joy of Zentangle. Now, I'm not even going to remotely pretend like I fully understand. In fact, as you see me flipping through these pages, I am pretending like I am reading and totally taking in the information. But the truth is, I am way too excited to get to the page where we get started. I'm looking through and just making sure I've got the basics in the pens and the pencils and the funny little rubbing paper that helps with shadowing. I know how to shadow, but I don't know how to highlight, and so highlighting is definitely not something that, or is something that I am going to have to learn. But here's the patterns I'm going to learn, and I'm going to take you through the first three of them today. Now, I found these tiles on Amazon, and they're frankly a lot bigger than the tiles or that I thought they would be. I mean, 3 inches winds up being really full 3 inches. Whereas when I was practicing before, like once before, it was just like I made a little square, maybe about an inch and a half long. So this was definitely out of my territory. Now, you saw me pull off my paper there, and I at first thought that I would do the swirly border around it, but quickly realized that this pattern would do better with a straight border, so I saved the other one for the next time. And I really should have started off with pen, but again, I am learning, and so here I am. I'm really puzzled by this entire thing. So here I switch over to pen. Good job, Laurie. I switch over to pen. I am looking at this pattern going, I don't fully understand what's going on. It doesn't really give you instructions as far as, hey, step 1, do this, step 2, do this. Instead, they have pictures, and I guessed that you could just go in and do whatever kind of pattern you wanted to as far as inside the squares went. So I did a tiny little square inside one, and then a circle on the other, and then kind of reversed so that it was like first it was evens, then it was odds, and then it was evens, and then it was odds, and then just did top and bottom simply squares. And so the weird thing is then it says, hey, on a couple of these, just shade it in. Maybe it's just practice. I'm not exactly sure. Again, it doesn't really say anything. It just gives you like, this is, some of the history of Zentangle, and it's to bring you peace and joy. And I kind of went, huh? I gotta be honest. And so I just kind of did what it told me to, at least in the pictures, and then I thought I've got to go back around and fill in with the pen, because really, like I said before, I should have started off with pen. They say that in Zentangle there are no mistakes, that if something ends up being a mistake, or what you feel like is a mistake, is just, I guess Bob Ross would call it a happy accident, and you just make the most of it. So here I put the name of the pattern on the back. It was called Adele, and then I move on to the next one. Now this one was a lot simpler, and I actually enjoyed doing this one a lot more. It was pretty basic, but it kind of turned out really pretty, and as a matter of fact, I enjoyed it so much I put 2 of the shells on there, and I practiced, or I experimented a little bit with shading in this one. And so inside of this pattern, and I think this one is called Ammon, I'd have to go back and look, and of course I don't have my stuff by me, but with this pattern, you go inside the shell and you just kind of make a little filler. It doesn't have to be square, it doesn't have to be rectangular, it's just kind of fits the pattern of whatever it is, whatever shape the inside lines and the outside lines, if that made any sense, makes. I'm sorry, you guys. This was just, but it was cool. It was a cool pattern. I enjoyed doing this one, like I said. But again, the interesting thing is I was looking for even just the pictures that kind of correspond with the pattern. This one matched, but in the other 2, it doesn't even show you the pattern. It just has a weird picture that goes along with it. And so that kind of really confused me. So I'm really not sure about this book. But again, I'm just barely starting on it. I only do 3 patterns in this book to start off with, and so yeah, it's a beginning. It's a beginning. Now I enjoyed doing this square so much that, not this square, this shell, that I decided to do another one, but I wanted to do this one differently instead of oh, it's so hard to see. I'm sorry, you guys. One of these days I'm going to figure out how to zoom in so that you can see better. But today is not that day, I'm afraid. So instead of doing the little patterns inside of each of the little squares, I went ahead and just tried shading instead, so it looked like the shell pieces were overlapping each other. And then I went in with my little paper smudger, I think it's a smudger, that's what it's called, and just kind of filled in that way to make it look like it was overlapping. All right, and then we're moving on to this last one, and I forgot to move my book over. I apologize. I do eventually but I do eventually pull the thing over. Now, I should have done this one differently. I followed the lines, the outlines of the box, instead of following the pattern more specifically. And I should have done much wavier lines, but I didn't realize that until it was a little too late. And you know, I'm just practicing. Like I said, they say there are no mistakes, and so this is just me trying to design something new. So you make your 3 rows, and then you just start doing a fan. I think this was called the Chinese fan, or some Asian fan. I think it was Asian fan because we're still in the A's. So. And this was really cool. I didn't quite do it right, but again, we're not going to judge on what I can or what mistakes I made, because that's not what Zentangle is about. I did find myself kind of zoning out and just really enjoying the process. By this last one, like I said, the first one kind of threw me off, but by this last one, I was really getting into it. And so the next part of the tangle is to fill in the lines, and I didn't do a fantastic job. You can't really tell because the camera's pulled out so much, but it actually has a lot of white in there. But I do go back in with the pencil and try to fill that in, and then use the smudger to just smudge the lines, to smudge them in there. And I do the same with the base of each of the fans. I go in with my pencil and I put in a little bit of shading in there, and then use the smudger to take it and fan it out a little bit. Fan it out, because it's the Asian fan. Oh, I'm punny tonight. Today. To this morning. I guess it depends on when you watch this, isn't it? So here I am going in with the pencil, and this is where I am just putting in a little bit. The thing that I like about the smudgers is that it does eventually take on the pencil lines itself, and so it really, that didn't make any sense. It takes on some of the pencil lead itself, and so it, as you smudge and use it to shadow, it utilizes it and can like make it shadow or shade a little bit more than what you had put on there. And so here I go back in there with this smudger. In any case, I hope that you enjoyed this process. I know I sure did. I'm still, like I said, I'm still unsure about the book, but I'm going to keep going with it. I'm going to continue through the patterns, and I'll take you along on my journey when I decide to do some more. And I just hope that you enjoyed this video. Again, I apologize that it's a little chaotic, but so am I. I'm going to be honest with you. And so I hope you all make today a great day, and just no matter where you are, just know that you are loved by so many. And we'll talk to you next week. Okay, bye.